We now turn our attention to boxing and the upcoming heavyweight fight being held at the Diriyah Arena in Saudi Arabia between Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua. It's the rematch. It's a huge fight. There's three major titles on the line: the WBA, the WBO, and the IBF titles are on the line. The only one missing, the WBC title, being held by Deontay Wilder currently. And it's going to be a huge fight. A lot of people have said Anthony Joshua wasn't himself. He really didn't look himself. He was fighting away from home. Pretty much for the first time. He's been fighting in the UK the whole time, usually at Wembley in recent times, in front of at least 80,000 fans. Fought in America, and he just didn't look himself coming in at the beginning of the fight, standing in the ring. And yeah, he didn't perform like Anthony Joshua we know, and Andy Ruiz got the victory. I think that's a little what I'm saying there is a little bit unfair to Andy Ruiz. He put on a superb performance, and it's fair to say that he won the title on merit. With his quick hands, tremendous combination. The chin he showed after being knocked down in the third round. He got up, showed great heart. But Anthony Joshua, he's got to change things. If he wants to win this time, he's got to keep it long. He's got to keep it at range. He's got to use his jab. He's got to use his reach advantage. He's got a height advantage. He's got longer levers than Ruiz. He has to be disciplined. In a way, his best bet would be to utilise even a Klitschko style. Keeping Ruiz at bay. I mean, Ruiz did damage getting in on the inside. He's a shorter man, so he has to get on the inside. If he gets to work those combinations and those quick hands, he's got the quickest hands in the heavyweight division. If he's able to land shots and combinations as he did in the first fight, it's going to be a difficult test for Anthony Joshua. It really is. I think mentally Ruiz has an edge now. Obviously, a lot of people have been reminding Joshua of what happened before the fight, where he handed Ruiz the belts. He's been criticised for that. He's been criticised for taking the fight too lightly. I mean, I don't know if that's fair. Obviously, he was preparing for Jarrell Miller, and then Ruiz accepted the fight at short notice. So I don't know if that's 100% fair to Joshua, but he may have taken him slightly lightly. And this time, he's obviously taking it a lot more serious. He's going to be putting in a lot of time with Rob McCracken. I think McCracken will advise him to keep long and use his advantages. If he gets into a tear-up, it plays into Ruiz's hands. That's pretty much what happened. Ruiz got in on the inside in the first fight and was able to do damage. Joshua's got to be disciplined with the jab. He's got to stick to a game plan. He can't fight in an instinctual way. He's got to stick to the game plan, which would be to keep him at range and, fight in a way where he's even looking to take it long and maybe even look for a boring points victory. He's got to frustrate Ruiz, and he's got to keep the jab pumping. He did throw some nice jabs in the first fight. He did work the jab very well. But what he didn't do was keep Ruiz away. Ruiz was able to get in on the inside too often and too easily. And the speed at which Ruiz throws punches, he throws 3 or 4 in the blink of an eye. And in the heavyweight division, if you're taking 3 or 4 hits, it's likely you're going to get stopped. Ruiz is a top fighter. He put in a good performance against Joseph Parker and lost on points in a previous title fight a few years ago. Everyone who knows boxing knows that he's a dangerous guy, not to be taken lightly. The bookies had Joshua as a huge favourite, and as I said, on exchanges you could get Ruiz at 16-1 in the first fight. So I don't think he was given the respect he was due based on those sort of odds. The respect is there now. Ruiz is down at 2-1 and Joshua is 4-9. Looking at the odds, I can't really say anything other than go for Andy Ruiz. That's what I will be doing. 2-1 on the basis of the prices offered is the value play. Joshua at 4-9, I don't know how anyone can have that as the price. It's a very optimistic price. They're basically saying Joshua is going to come back a different way, fight as in the manner that he did in the past, where he was unbeaten, and maybe blow Ruiz away. That's possible. But having looked at, there was recently there's been a lot of build-up. There's been press conferences. The gloves are off show where Ruiz and Johnny Nelson and Joshua sat down and had a head-to-head. It was obvious Joshua doesn't look as comfortable and as assured as he did, and that's fair play to him, because if what happened to him happened to us, we'd probably be in a similar position. It's a big life adjustment, being a champion, being unbeaten, and then losing it all. And basically, I'm not going to say he was found out, but I think we've always thought Joshua, there are holes in his technique. He's a very powerful fighter. He's a good finisher, but his technique isn't the best. He hasn't got the skills of, say, a Tyson Fury, I don't think. I mean, Ruiz has a lot of skills, basically, mainly attached to his hand speed, and obviously his chin is good as well. I think Joshua, on a few occasions, we've seen him down against Klitschko. We've seen Dylan White hurt him in the second round in their fight. You know, it is possible to hurt Joshua. Ruiz was knocked down in the third round, and he got up. He calmed himself. He's got a very good mentality. I think Ruiz's mentality is underrated, and it shouldn't be. If you look at the criticism he gets for how he looks and his weight, and all, you know, and him being fat and all that sort of stuff, which I think is a disgrace how people refer to Ruiz in that respect, particularly in the society we live in now, where insulting people for whatever reason is looked down on. I think the way people talk about Andy Ruiz is a disgrace. He's a world heavyweight champion at the moment, and he's had to take a lot of flack, but he's used to it. He's even called himself, the little fat Mexican boy or whatever. But his mentality must be a certain way, because he's able to take all this stick and he's able to be himself. He seems to be very centered. He seems to have a very good level temperament. In a way, mentally, I think that's worked against Joshua, because he comes across as a nice guy. There's not much to pick at, really. If someone's coming at you aggressive, like a Jarrell Miller or a Dylan White, it's easy to mouth off at them. It's easy to, try and get in their head. It's easy to fire back. With Ruiz, he's been humble. He's been nice pretty much. But I do think at the gloves are off, he was very shrewd, Ruiz. I think there were a couple of occasions he said, he had a few little shots at Joshua and made eye contact as he said them. But he didn't say anything overtly disrespectful. But he did let him know that, he has the one up. He's one up now. He's beat him in the first fight. He expects to beat him again. I did notice that their head-to-head, they did a head-to-head today after the second press conference, and Ruiz, in the face-off, was shouting out to certain members of the crowd, "and still," which I thought for him was a little bit, it's more overt than he usually is. He's usually a lot quieter and a lot nicer and a lot more humble, but that's part of the mind games. He was saying that while looking at Anthony Joshua. Joshua did not look comfortable at all. But, look how people look and how comfortable they look is one thing, but what's going to matter is how they perform on the night. If Joshua comes out, utilises all his skills, the fighting from range, the jabs, the power, he could beat Andy Ruiz and maybe justify the 4-9. But at the prices, particularly the manner in which Ruiz won the first fight by stoppage, I think 2-1 is hard to ignore. So what I'm going to be going for, 21-10 is available. Actually now, you can see if you have a look around. So around 2-1 or a little bit more, I think it's a fair bet. 4-9, if you bet on Joshua, there's not, what are you going to do with that? You've got to put in some sort of an accumulator, or you've got to put a lot of juice down. I think Ruiz, having won the first fight with the mental edge, with the hand speed, the chin that he has, he's very experienced. If you look at his record, he's been around a long time. He's been fighting from a lot younger age than Joshua as well. And I think he may have built up a lot of instinctual, sort of subconscious skills that he's not even aware of, to do with hand speed and to do with hand-eye coordination that maybe Joshua doesn't have. My play on this one is purely based on the prices, and I think there's a little bit of value for Andy Ruiz. If Joshua goes out and knocks out Ruiz, fair play to him, but 4-9, it's not going to make a huge amount of difference, so let him get on with it. If that's the case, I think it's going to be a tremendous fight. It's definitely going to be a sensational event being held in Saudi Arabia. Enjoy it. Give your comments. There's people going to be on either side of this one, and it'd be nice to hear what people's opinions are on it. But enjoy the fight, and I'll see you next time.